Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Dre-JOE-tional. Now this is one I've been sitting on for a couple months now, and I could talk about this for hours, but I'm just going to give you some things to think about today. And as we head into our leadership retreat this weekend, I ask for your feedback on what we're going to talk about, and if you want to share it with any of the other leaders in the church, committee chairs, Pastor Jay, Barb, Tina Hoffman, the chair of our church council, any number of people, Marcia, Margie Wheeler, whoever. But we got to talk about our future a little bit, not just our church, but our denomination, our church in general, the church encompassing everything, the church. And let me go back a little bit. Back in beginning of November, when I started to recruit people for the live nativity, there was a family member of a member of our church who had just had a baby or knew somebody had a baby. Anyway, there was a connection there. And I asked this person if they could go and hey, find out if they want to participate, because finding a live baby is the toughest part of putting together a live nativity. So the response that I got back was, oh, I'd love for them to do it. Maybe that will bring them back to the church. And it got me, it turns out they said no, they weren't able to do it. But it got me to thinking about that. Now here's a person that's active in our church, has been active for a very long time, and yet he knew of people in his little world that weren't going to church or weren't active in church. So that started a whole process of research and asking questions and all that, because for years we have all struggled, not just Godfrey, but we've all struggled with growth. Where do we get new members? And the easy answer is, oh, we got to get young people. Okay. Well, how do you do that? And are we going to have what they're looking for? And so anyway, I started asking other leaders in our church, other prominent members, longtime members, about their kids and families. And none of them have families that are active in their churches or in any church. My family's included in that. So I don't want to say, oh, well, yeah, I'm picking on anybody or calling anybody out. My family's the same way. You guys all know Dude was active. She sang in the choir and praise team and Ignite, was a huge part of GPS and all that. Natalie kind of sort of was in her last couple of years of high school. The boys never were, really. They came to church when they could, but soccer and other things took priority on Sunday mornings more often than not. But none of them attend church now. So my family's in the same boat. So I got thinking about all the conversations we've had over the years about attracting young people. And we always have older people in these meetings talking about how to attract younger people. And we've never asked the younger people what they want. So it's weird, because in a discussion this week, it came up that we're not asking the right questions. I contend, not only are we not asking the right questions, but we're not asking the right people. And this was my thought a couple months ago. So I sat with my kids, and I've talked to other people in their demographic, and I've talked to our youth group, and I've talked to all kinds of people about why they don't attend church. And I'm not going to share too much of that today, but I want to give you some research, because it's not just us, like I said. So shortly after I started doing some of this digging in November, the conference, church conference, IGRC, shared an article from Church and Culture that the nuns just keep rising. And the nuns are N-O-N-E-S. These are people that describe themselves as non-denominational. They believe in God, but they don't believe in religion. They're not a member of a church. And according to this study, while we see a lot of the trends go down, 71% of those surveyed say yes, they believe in God, but only 47% are members of a congregation. And that is rising. That's increasing. So we're getting people that believe in God, but they don't believe in religion. So again, I've asked some of the people that I've been in contact with about their opinions on that. And a lot of it has to do with politics. The younger people don't want to get dragged into the politics of religion. I'm not going to get into that either. But that's what they've said. It's telling you. We can't provide what they want if we don't ask them what they want, right? And then ignore what they want. So that was one of the things. Anyway, after this report came out, which I found very interesting, I also started participating in a book study online with Becky Long, our former Pastor Don Long, former Pastor Don Long's wife, Becky. She's doing this book study called Searching for Sunday. It's a book by Rachel Held Evans, and I'd never heard of her before, never heard of this. But this entire book tackles the same things. It's Rachel's story of how she has struggled with her faith, with her church, with her religion. It's a roller coaster ride. Her dad was a pastor, I believe. Her husband's dad was a pastor. And yet she had an on-again, off-again relationship with the church. Not so much with God, a little bit with God, but with the church. And you can see, I've highlighted tons of stuff in this book because it speaks to me. I love it. So all of these things combined come to this again. What do we have to do to attract younger people to our church? And not just our church or denomination, but the church, to God, to faith. What do we have to do to make them active? For years, our answer has been Sunday morning. We put a survey out a year ago, and overwhelmingly, everybody said, Sunday morning, Sunday morning, Sunday morning. Guess who's not coming on Sunday morning? Look around. So instead of trying to force them to come into what we want, how do we meet them where they are? One of the answers is online and technology. And I know that scares the bejesus out of a lot of people, but that's where they are. So instead of trying to think outside the box, we got to blow the box up. The box no longer exists. And like it or not, Sunday mornings are no longer reserved for worship. When I was a kid, I had soccer games on weekends too, but none before noon. They were all afternoon. Now, places are having practice on Sundays. There's all kinds of games on Sundays. It's just another day of the weekend for a lot of people. And when we had this discussion a year ago with the survey, I brought that up. And it was brought back to me that, they need to pick different priorities in. They need to prioritize. Church needs to come first. They need to quit those things. That's not going to happen. That's a battle we're already losing. Not just as Godfrey First, but as a church. We're losing that battle. So how can we meet them where they are? Several years ago, when we were still members over at Main Street, the Rams were in town. Life was good. The Rams were in town. And it was back in the Super Bowl days. So it's been quite a while, right? And our family had season tickets. Susan's family, we all had season tickets and went to every game. And there was a Sunday morning that I went to early worship, and then Susan and I left to go to the Rams game. And as we were leaving, the choir director stopped me. And she said, "Where are you going? We have to sing at the late service." I said, "Well, I got Rams tickets. I'm heading over to the game." And she says to me, in all seriousness, "Do the Rams come before the Lord?" And I replied to her in all seriousness, when they're at home, yes, they do. Now, yeah, it was funny. But the point is, we can't be so stuck to make Sunday morning the only opportunity for us to reach these people. If we do that, we're going to die. We're going to die a slow death. Sunday mornings are no longer reserved. The Rams never came before the Lord. The Rams came before me worshiping at the late service that Sunday, even though I was at 8:30 and did all the other stuff. But that's not how people think anymore. So when they're at soccer games and baseball games and cheer competitions and vacations, or maybe they just want to sleep in, you know what? Those things are more important that day at that time. And that's okay. That's the world we live in. So instead of trying to get them to come to our world, we need to bring our world to them. How do we do that? That's what I need you to think about this week. So put comments in there if you want. You can email me, you can text me, you can call me. You can share with any of the leaders, like I said, and we can share it this weekend. And you can count on me to say more. And again, I want to, one more time, point out, this is not a you or me. This is us. This is we. We are all in this boat together. So that's what I got for you this week. Think about it. Pray about it. Let's do what we can together. Blessings, Godfrey first.